Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Deva Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Yo Nityamachyutabadam Bhajayugma Rukma Vyamo Hatastattarani Trinaaya Mene Asmadguroho Bhagavato Siddhaik Sindhoho Ramanujasya Charano Sharanam Prapadhye. Yasya Smranamatreena Dvaitavasana Pramachate Bodhatmakaya Namastasmai Bhagavate Shri Ramanamarshye. Hridakashe Sada Bhantam Shantamanandarupinam Jnanabhadamaham Vande Sadgurum Shri Sathya Sainam Mamantraya. Happy New Year to everybody. Tamil New Year. This year is called Shubhakrit. Shubhakrit means doing good, doing auspicious things. Shubham, auspicious. Shubhakrit, that which does auspicious things. For this year is an auspicious year. It heralds doing good. What is good? Anything that is associated with Bhagavan is good. Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita refers to the word Sat. In one of the chapters, 17th chapter, Bhagavan refers to Om Tat Sat. When he describes what is Om, he describes what is Tat, but when he describes Sat, Sat abdina truth nu solluvom, Sat na good, Sat Sangha, good company. But when Bhagavan describes the word Sat, he says Sadbhave Sadhubhave cha. Sadbhave Sadhubhave cha Sat iti etat prayujyate. That which is associated with the divine and that which is associated with the devotees is Sat. Sadbhava, Sadhubhava. Anything that is done for him is Sat, it is Shubham. So Shubhakrit means all those activities that are done for the sake of the Lord are all Shubhakrita, Shubhamana Krityam. So this year reminds us, it is not something that it is bringing forth anew. Swami always would say in his New Year discourses, he would say that you all think this is New Year and you celebrate it, but every day is new, every moment is new. But Swami would always insist. So every day is new, all right. And this year becomes a reminder for us once again. Everybody takes New Year resolutions. So what is our New Year resolution? What we are currently going to be starting doing today? Prema Vahini. What is our New Year resolution? To fill our lives with love for God, to rededicate ourselves into living our life for Him. Where did our life come from? Where did it come from? Who is sustaining it? It's come from Him. It is being sustained by Him. So who should it be for me? How is that right? How is that appropriate? How is that logical? It comes from God. It is maintained by God. It is sustained by God. But who is it for now? It is only for God. We should not get into this mistaken belief that it is for ourselves. Life is not lived for ourselves. Life is lived for Ishvara only, for God. Again and again and again, this is the only thing that we should remember. Repeatedly we should remember. Even before we start off into Prema Vahini, I want to share a small anecdote that happened a few days ago. I had gone for my morning walk. Morning or afternoon, some walk I had gone. And as I was walking, I was reminded of the numerous instances in which Swami had continuously showered his benevolent kripa and karuna, his compassion, his grace. And I started talking to him and I said, Swami, for this grace that you give, I should always be serving you. I only want to serve you. Make sure that you keep giving me opportunities to serve you. Kainkaryam should always be there. Swami said beautifully, you serving me is of labha or profit to both of us. Why will I stop it? You serving me is labha to both of us. Why would I stop it? So then my mind, I asked Swami, how can... No, I'm not thinking of service in terms of labha, Swami. I'm not thinking of it as though it is a profit. And I'm not doing it for profit. I'm not doing it for profit. So Swami made a very beautiful statement. Amazingly beautiful statement that I want you all to listen very clearly and carefully. Swami said, you serving me is labha for you. You serving me is profit for you. And as a result of serving me, when I want to shower my grace upon you, that is profit for me. Swami said, me serving Swami is profit for me, but him showering grace upon me is profit for him. நம்ம எப்படி நினைப்போம்? Service will be the profit for the person served, and grace is the profit for the one receiving the grace. But Swami puts it in the completely opposite way. He says, for you to get an opportunity to serve me is a great profit for you, labham for you. Beyond this, what labha do you want? And me being able to shower my grace upon you as a result is profit for me. It is labha for me. So why would something that is mutually benefiting, mutually profiting, why would I want to stop it? Okay. So when we live for God, it is a very mutually profitable association. When we live for ourselves, it is total loss. It is full loss, because we gain nothing by living for ourselves, and he also does not gain the opportunity to shower his grace upon us, because he also is looking for a chance. He is looking for a chance. How can I be there for this fellow? Bhagavan is looking. We should give him a chance. When we give him a chance, he seizes that opportunity and he says, I'm glad. And actually, he thinks it's a great profit for him. For us, serving him is the profit. Clear? Tava seva ki avasar dijo. Then we sang, give us the opportunity to serve you all the time. So keep reminding yourselves of this. The Shubhakrita this year, let it be a reminder for everybody that life is for the sake of God. It is living for God. What is living for God is what we are going to be seeing in Prema Vahini. How to live for God. What does it even mean? What should we do? What should we look out for? What should we not do, avoid, etc. All of those things Swami will explain to us in Prema Vahini. But when we remember this overarching fundamental goal that our life is to give him an opportunity to profit out of it. Our life is an opportunity for him to make a bit of a profit. What is his great profit? Showering his love upon us, showering his grace upon us is the greatest profit that he is hankering after. With that as a little preamble, let us get into Prema Vahini, which is the river or the stream of endless love. All of Swami's Vahinis that he wrote as part of the serialized Sanatana Sarathi articles, all of them are expressions of Swami's Prema only, Swami's love only. We did Prashanti Vahini, that is also Prema Vahini only of some sort. And this is exclusively called by Swami as Prema Vahini. Therefore, let us see what Swami decides to call as Prema. Yeah, and we have an idea of Prema. And here, Swami is titled Prema Vahini and he is writing something in this. So we've got to now pay attention to what is Swami's definition of love, what comes under the umbrella of love when Swami is talking about it. All the time Swami spoke about love, love, love. He kept on reiterating and repeating love. Yeah. So we have finally getting the opportunity to understand what this prema is. More than in all the previous yugas, the present one, Kali Yuga, offers multifarious paths through which people can acquire discrimination or viveka. If it is education that is needed, there are many schools and institutions. And if it is wealth that one is after, there are various avenues by which, and with effort, it can be honorably earned. In spite of this, however, we don't find any increase in human happiness or peace. In fact, there is much more misery than in the previous ages. What is the reason? The reason lies in human behavior, in the way people live. Human life is undoubtedly the highest in evolution, and to give it meaning, spiritual endeavor, sadhana, endeavor that is pure and holy, is essential. For this way of life, character is all important. Character makes life immortal. It survives even death. Some say that knowledge is power, but that is not true. Character is power. Even the acquisition of knowledge demands a good character. So, everyone must yearn to attain flawless character without any trace of evil. This is how Swami begins Prema Vahini. More than any other yuga, we don't even have to go back to Treta Yuga and Dwapara Yuga and so on and so forth, which we do not have any idea about. Even if we went 50 years back, even if we went 100 years back in our history, something that we may all be somewhat familiar with because of our ancestors. 100 years is not so long ago because our grandparents lived or were born probably 100 years ago. They lived about 90, 80 odd years ago and so on. That's when they were growing up. So it's not that far away. We may have heard stories from them about how life was for them. If you compare our current day, current life, to the lives that was lived by our parents or our grandparents, naturally we will say that there are many more mediums of conveniences that are available now. I mean, can you imagine sitting here in one place and all of you sitting wherever you are and still being able to listen to this discourse as it is being given? Is this something that would have been possible for people even 20 years ago? So the convenience that we have is constantly increasing. Conveniences are constantly increasing. Swami says schools and institutions, universities, etc. are blossoming everywhere. If it is knowledge that one seeks, then even better than previously. Just Google it, mate. Yeah. The Greens leader reportedly said it yesterday, Adam Band. Just Google it, mate. The reporter asked him one of those tricky factual questions that they are fond of asking. It's like as though politicians should know general knowledge. GK questions. What is the unemployment rate? What is the official cash rate? What is this rate? What is population? What is this? Something like this they asked. He gave a prompt. Just Google it. You will find out. Why are you asking me? Hey, everything now can be Googled. Whether it is the ancient knowledge or whether it is modern, up to date, what is happening right now, everything can be Googled and we can find everything literally in fingertips. And the Galathala Challuvam, in a manner of speaking, in those days we used to say, you should have it in your fingertips. When you were young, when growing up, they used to say, memorize it, you should have it in your fingertips. Now, what is there in nail? Apart from nail, what is there in fingertips? But now everything fingertips, tap, 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 fingertip, everything is coming. Finally now, the meaning of the word, a phrase, everything in your fingertips is born truth. All access to knowledge is there. Wealth, sitting at home, people are able to make wealth. As though, normal means is not enough, cryptocurrency. You don't even know what it is. So cryptic, you don't even understand how you are making money. But people are making money. Whether it is wealth or whether it is education, Swami says here, all of those things it is easy to acquire, but so what? And having acquired all of that, in the end, Swami says there is much more misery than in the previous ages. Isn't it? That is also true. That is also true. Technology came, a recent example, technology made it possible for people to work from home. As a result, what has happened, they have been talking about it, the work and life have been, the boundaries have become blurred. People are now answering emails at 10 o'clock in the night also. So what has happened? It was not, the 50 years ago, this was not a case at all. No? 50 years ago, when you came home from work, there was nothing more. You cannot do anything. Even phone was not there. Until you go back the next day at 9 o'clock, work is complete close. Now, all the time we can access work, work can access us. We can access work is different. Work can access us. That is the problem. So, where is peace and where is happiness? Zero. Even less than previously. But what is the reason? Is it because of internet? Is it because of smartphone that peace and happiness are gone? Swami says the reason is human behavior. The way in which people live their lives. Human life. Human life is the highest in evolution, right from all the small creatures, the plants and so on, to pullai, pundai, buzhuvai, all the small little insects and fish and reptiles and amphibians and reptiles and birds and mammals and primates, and finally right on top of the evolutionary tree we are sitting. Human beings are sitting. So it is certainly the best and the highest form of intelligent existence in this world. But even though it is the highest form of existence, if it is only going to be spent in what Swami spoke about a little while ago, acquiring mere education or mere wealth, it is only going to lead to lack of happiness and peace. What should be done instead? Swami gives us the answer also. He doesn't leave us with merely the question. He gives us the answer, sadhana. Spiritual endeavor, adhyatmika vritti, divyamaina pavitramaina adhyatmika vritti, sacred, holy, pure spiritual endeavors, actions, activities are essential to make life meaningful. Therefore, engaging oneself in spiritual activities is what is going to give meaning to life. But if you really look at our lives, our day to day, so a day in the life of how many hours are therefore meaningful? If what Swami says is the hours that are spent spiritually are what is going to add value and meaning to human life, then in a day, how many hours are meaningful? The answer is evident to all of us. Most of the time is spent in meaningless activities only. Very little bit of time is spent in activities that have some meaning or the other. But still we are complaining, but I don't have Shanti, I do not have Ananda. Naturally, The reason why our lives are so humdrum and meaningless is because we are reducing the amount of spiritual endeavors, pure, sacred, holy spiritual endeavors, to a small fraction of our life, of our day. The rest of it is spent in meaningless activities, pursuing useless things. Why? Why do we do so? Swami gives the next thing. For this way of life, for leading a spiritual way of life, character is all important. Charitramu. Character is all important. Character is immortal, it survives even death. Because even if a person passes away, his name continues to stay if he has lived a life of good character. Some say that knowledge is power, but that is not true. What is really power? Character alone is really power. Because even acquisition of right knowledge, good knowledge, requires good character. So Swami says everyone must yearn to attain a flawless character that is devoid of all evil. So how should character be? Flawless, stainless, without any blemish associated with it. And it must be free of all evil. Again, Swami will explain all these things. Let us watch. What is it? Note that Buddha, Jesus Christ, Shankaracharya, and Vivekananda, as well as the great sages and saints and devotees of the Lord, all these are treasured in the memory of people even to this day. What quality made them all memorable for all time? I say that it is the character of each. Without character, wealth, education, and social status are of no avail. Character is like the fragrance of a flower, it gives value and worth. Poets, painters, artists, and scientists may be great, each in their own field, but without character, they can have no standing in society. This is self-evident. When we take the names of these great Mahatmas, Mahapurushas, they are still remembered. A couple of days ago, when what's his name? Anthony Albanese, the opposition leader, was asked a question, and our number. He guessed some number. What is the unemployment rate? 3.5, 4.5, I think. What is the cash rate? Or number shooter, but number calculate. Although he said something. So then everybody made a hoo-ha about it, but the next day he said, it's a mistake, but I fess up to it, blah, blah, blah. All this over. But the person who came into the reason why I brought this particular thing was because Bill Shorten, Bill Shorten, the one who was short-circuited last election. He was shortened by, the Australian electorate. He wanted to become tall, but become the Prime Minister, but he was shortened. His career was shortened. His name was like that, what to do. Bill Shorten said, everybody makes mistakes. The last person who never made a mistake, we are celebrating Easter now, was born 2000 years ago. According to him, he said, the last person to have never made a mistake was born 2000 years ago, we are celebrating Easter. So, who is perfect? We remember, Swami says here, Buddha, Jesus Christ, Shankaracharya, Vivekananda. We remember them even today. They are memorable as what? As perfect characters who never made a mistake. Even a politician who has to say it, has to admit it, what to do. In a perfection, where is it coming from? The great sages and saints and the devotees of the Lord, they are all treasured in the memory of people even today. Why? Character is why they are treasured, Swami says here. Without that, no matter what you have, wealth and education and social status are all of you of no avail. Even famous people, poets and painters and scientists and artists and so on, they may be great in their own field, but without character, society will forget them. They are of no value in society. Now, naturally, we will have the question, the doubt will arise. No, that is not true. The people who are popular, the people with character, nobody knows. The people without character only, everybody seems to know. Yeah. Apo, Swami himself addresses that particular doubt. Doubt will certainly arise whether those who are now greeted with respect by society have the character that we consider essential to greatness. But I am speaking of a society and a character that cling to unchanging values. Ordinarily, society attaches varying importance to certain qualities from day to day, and fashions and character change with the vagaries of society. But the basic nature of a flawless character is eternal. It is the same whatever the vicissitudes of society. In this sense, it is immortal, being associated with another immortal entity, Atma. The Swami is not speaking about this society. Swami is not speaking about the society that includes your neighbors. What society is Swami speaking about? Tani galaxy. It's a separate society altogether. Who should remember us? But it is also very important because people's minds will keep changing. Recently, when I say recently, about a couple of years ago, in America, there was a bit of a stir where they were breaking down statues of famous people. Obviously, they were famous, otherwise statues would not have been erected and They would not have been commemorated in various town squares and city squares. But these statues are all being demolished by a group of people. And the reason they gave for that was that they were all people slavers. See, these were the people that brought slaves from Africa into America. At that time they were celebrated and a statue was raised for them. But today those statues are being brought down because they were symbolizing an institution of shame. See, society, what has happened? Society changes. Society changes, isn't it? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if a he wanted to be a she, we would make fun of them. Or a she became a he, we will laugh them and say, now it is. Now what happens, one of our Australian ministers was asked the question, how do you define a woman? That fellow hummed and hawed, and finally he said, I'll have to take this on notice. I'll have to take this question on notice. He is so scared. He doesn't know what to say. What is a woman? Who knows now? In the end, it is an adult biological human female. That is the definition of a woman. An adult biological, in case somebody asks you, I'm just telling you what is the definition. An adult biological female human is a woman. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. But now it is not. It need not be. It could be a peacock. Why? I choose to be. I can quack and I can walk like a duck, but that doesn't mean I'm a duck. I'm a peacock. So we do not know what is the definition of a duck and a peacock now. What is happening? Society is changing. I am not finding fault with anything. I'm trying to say, society is changing. 20 years ago, this kind of a thing will be that for the person with that kind of an unfortunate tendency or whatsoever would have been unfortunate because they would have been hounded out. Now, even a minister has to be taking the question on notice. I'm not quite sure. I'll get back to you. I'll institute a royal commission on this, and after that I'll get back to you. This is nature of society. What is considered as great at one point in time will not be great at another point in time. It will go away. And also, history is always written or rewritten by the victors. Those who win will rewrite history. And whatever they had will be the right thing to do. And whatever they did not have will be the wrong thing. This is the nature of the human society. This is not the society that Swami is talking about here. What is the society that Swami is talking about? Rishi Samaja. Sat Samaja. Samajana society. What is the society? The society of rishis. The society of holy ones, wise ones, sacred ones, because they alone can be called immortal because they are associated with another immortal entity. Swami says here, Atma. In this sense, the society is immortal because it is associated with another immortal entity, the Atma. So, whose opinions should we have to bother about? Atmajnanis. Mahatmas and Mahapurushas should have a good opinion of us. Ishvara should have a good opinion of us. To hell with the rest of the world, because that is where anyway it is going. This is something we have to be. This is the society that Swami is envisioning. A spiritual society where it is spiritual because it is associated with the Atma. It is associated with the unchanging Atma, therefore it is also unchanging in its principles and its values. Here, the same things alone, the same ideals alone will be considered the highest, they will never change. What are those? Swami explains here. What make up a flawless character? Among the qualities that make up a flawless character, love, patience, forbearance, steadfastness, and charity are the highest and are to be revered. What makes up a flawless character according to Swami? Without this flawless character, we cannot pursue the highest goal of life. So what is a flawless character? A character that has got prema, love in it, kshanti, forbearance in it, It should have dhairya. It should have patience in it. It should have stairya. It should have steadfastness in it. And dana, charity in it. Love, patience, forbearance, steadfastness, and charity. These are the 5 things that Swami has picked up here. These things alone can go to make a flawless character, and it is only when we have a flawless character that we gain the eligibility to pursue a spiritual life, the life that will then be meaningful. Otherwise, we will be forced to live a meaningless life. So, in fact, if you say, why am I living a meaningless life? I lack these characters. First, Swami speaks about is prema, love. Appuram patience. Patience is putting up with everything. Saburi. Baba always used to talk about saburi. Patience. Wait pannu. Wait for what? What should we wait for? Waiting for Godatana? Illa, waiting for God. There is a play, a very famous play, Waiting for, I don't know how to pronounce it, Godot or Godot. It is spelled as Godot. It's a play, I don't know if it's a Russian play or some European play where there are only 2 characters. They're sitting and waiting for this character that never appears in the play. The person is called Godot. You don't have to wait for Godot, you just have to wait for God. Wait for God means what? Wait for God to shower His grace upon you. You have to give Him some time to shower His grace upon you. I was reading a nice story about saburi, patience. This devotee had come to Swami and she said, Swami, I want to go to Shirdi. I've never been to Shirdi. Oh, you've not been to Shirdi? All right, you must go. Then Swami gave instructions how to go, where to stay. And he said, this lady would not eat onion and garlic. So, Swami said, there is one particular restaurant there. You go there, you can get food without onion and garlic. I will look after everything, don't worry. And Swami gave all the instructions. But in the end, what happened was, they missed their train or something. They are late for their train, something happens. They are late for their train. And they hurriedly get in. And because of it, all the plans are gone. They had no time to go and find this place. And so they were hungry. So she started, what Swami? You said to look after, I'm hungry. Next station, some lady got into her particular, the compartment in which they were. This lady got in. Some big shot because a big entourage was there. Pata, she was a collector of the district and she had gotten into the train and carried lots of luggage and stuff was all kept there by the staff, and they all saluted madam, and they all got on. Train started to move. When the train started to move, she said to these people, I'm a collector and they give me so much food thinking I should eat all of this food. How can I eat? Would you like to share this food with me? Don't worry. She didn't say don't worry. She said, but only problem is I am allergic to certain things. Therefore, there is no onion and garlic in this food. So if it is okay, you can have it. And naturally, they had to keep their fingers on their nose. Where did this happen? How did this happen? Naturally, we know who is behind it all. So they all ate. And they came. When they came to Parthi, back to Parthi, Swami, in the interview, Swami said, no patience. You go to Shirdi without saburi. Why did you go to Shirdi? Shraddha, saburi, Shraddha imilla, saburi imilla. You have to wait for some time. The train has to stop at the next station so that the lady can get in. Oh, no food. Swami said he will do everything. Swami said he'll arrange. Swami said he'll arrange. Will he not arrange? So patience. What for patience? Patience. We wait with great patience for the train to come, the bus to come, for our promotion which never comes to come. All these things we'll wait with great patience. Only motion is coming. Promotion is not coming. What to do? Waiting for promotion, he has to go to the toilet 10 times. Motion only is happening. What should we wait for? Grace of God. That is all we have to wait for. It is coming. Sometimes it will wait till the next station. No, halfway through the lady can't get in. No? So she has to wait for the train to stop at the next station so that they can. Time Bhagavan is planning it. He is doing it nicely. In fact, he is doing it in such a way that it will surprise us. Adukulle we should not hanker. I don't know what is patience for? Not the things of this world. Patience, patiently awaiting His grace. He will give the grace. He will have to shower that grace. What else? What else is He doing? Otherwise, God has to do something. Other than showering grace, what else is He got? Everything else He's got people doing. Departments are there for Him. He doesn't have to do everything. He's already, you do this, எல்லாத்துக்கும் சொல்லியிருக்கார். For instance, no, in the house, I don't do anything. I do not do anything. There are people to do things. Somebody is there to cook, and somebody is there to clean, and somebody is there to engage the children, and something or the other, something comes up. I don't do anything. But I will have to give discourse now. I'll have to do satsang. What else is my job? What else am I there for? I have to do this. This I cannot escape from. Other things I've got people, I've appointed people. This only I have to do. Like that, God also, other things He's got a lot of people to do. Some Indra is there, some Chandra is there, some Surya is there, some Agni is there, Varuna, Vayu are there. All of those deities, divinities, everybody, somebody is doing all those kind of things. Then what is His exclusive job? And He also has a job. What is it? Not to shower grace upon us. He will do it. What should we do until then? Wait for Him to shower His grace. So if somebody asks you, what are you doing? I'm just waiting for God to shower His grace upon me. So what do? I wait for God's grace. Patience. Forbearance. What is forbearance? Until then, what should we do? We should put up with it. Forbearance is the putting up. God's grace will come, but until the grace comes, because pain has started today. Probably grace is coming in the next 2 hours. But until then, what should I do? I should put up. Yeah, if I jump up and down, what is the use? Grace will anyway come, but my 2 hours jumping up and down is a waste. அதுக்கு பேசாமல் இருந்துட்டேன் அப்படின்னா, இது பார்த்து பாரு, he has looked after me so many times, he will look after me, no problem, until then I just put up with it. அப்படின்னா forbearance. Steadfastness. Next என்ன அப்படின்னா steadfastness, dhriti. You must be determined, you must be steadfast in your devotions. You should not say, oh, so much trouble, I can't do anything today, let grace come, let everything get solved, then thereafter I will restart. அப்படின்லாம் முடியாது. ஏன்னா problems will also keep coming. That is life. Problems then solved by grace, another problem solved by grace, another problem solved by grace. This is the nature. Problems are because of prarabdha. Prarabdha. Then will a problemu, adi prarabdhamu, anduke problemu, prarabdhamu are the same. They are very similar. Problems will come. Grace is also coming behind to solve the problem. But that doesn't mean that because I'm constantly between problems and solutions of grace, should I sit there on my thumbs twiddling the time away? No. I should be steadfast in my sadhana. I should continue to do my duty. And finally, dana, charity. Dana. Dana is selflessly giving. It's not merely giving some item, some object. Dana, our time is also given. Yeah? We don't have to always give something tangible, material in order for it to be constituted or included as dana. Dana, even our time is also given. Our knowledge can be given. If somebody is having some trouble, just listening to them and offering some sympathetic advice, that is also dana. Any selfless act is dana. So, the selfless action. Love, we know. We are going to talk about it now. So, we will leave it for now. Patience is waiting patiently for His grace. Forbearance, until then putting up with the situation in which I am. Steadfastness, but while putting up, I will continue to do my sadhana. And what is my sadhana? Selfless action, dana. For all of this, the root, the primal ingredient, prema. That is what Swami first spoke about. Prema. Prema, love, patience, forbearance, steadfastness and charity, selfless action. 100 little deeds that we indulge in every day harden into habits. These habits shape the intelligence and mold our outlook and life. All that we weave in our imagination, seek in our ideals, and yearn for in our aspirations leave an indelible imprint in our mind. Distorted by these, we form our knowledge, our picture of the world around us, and it is to this picture that we get attached. See how beautifully Swami is explaining it. 100 little things that we do, little tiny actions that we do, all of them come together and become a habit. They form a habit. Yeah, we all know this. There are mannerism. Some people will have a mannerism. How did it start? They started doing something. Maybe breathe. After some time, they can't stop with doing that. They'll keep doing it. What does happen? It becomes a habit. 100 times if it is not, it becomes a habit. Little deed. It's a small thing only. It's not a major thing. It's a small thing. But that small thing has become a habit. Isn't it? How did it happen? Without recognizing it, without being mindful of it, we did it. It became a habit after some time because repeatedly it is done. 100 little deeds that we indulge in become hardened into habits. And these habits then, what do? They shape our intelligence and our outlook to life. All that we weave into our imagination or seek as our ideal or yearn for, all of these things, whatever it is that you seek or yearn for, it leaves behind an impression in your mind. Indelible imprint, Swami says, a vasana, a samskara. Habit na samskara tha. What the samskara leaves behind? Vasana. And what do these vasanas do? These vasanas create our world picture for us. And that is the world to which we are attached. Isn't it? Your vasana may be to dress well and have a fancy car and have a fancy house. That is your vasana. That is what you have yearned for. What is the kind of world that you will seek? What is the kind of society that you will seek? You will seek the corresponding society where everybody speaks about clothes and cars and houses and holidays. Your vasana is for God. What society will you seek? You will seek, your view of the world itself will change, and you will only associate and seek those who are also like-minded. One's present is but the result of one's past and habits formed during that long period. But, here is the hope, but whatever the nature of the character that one has come by, it can certainly be modified by changing the accustomed process of thought and imagination. We have formed a world view. How did we form it? By repeatedly indulging in certain actions which gave rise to certain habits, and that certain habits molded our character, our life. And that is how we are living our life now. So today is a result of yesterday. Because today is a result of yesterday, tomorrow will be a result of today. Isn't it? That means if these habits created this character that I have now, then the habits that I follow now will reshape my character, will it not? It is not cast in stone. It is malleable, it is changeable. The wickedness of nobody is incorrigible. Wasn't Angulimala the robber turned into a kind-hearted person by the Buddha? Didn't the thief Ratnakara become Valmiki the sage? By conscious effort, habits can be changed and the character can be refined. People always have within them, within their reach, the capacity to challenge their evil propensities and to change their evil habits. By selfless service, renunciation, devotion, prayer, and by intelligent inquiry, the old habits that bind people to the earth can be discarded, and new habits that can take them along the divine path can be instilled into their lives. Swami is holding hope out for us. How did it all start? The way you add value to your life is by following the spiritual path. But right now, people are not able to follow the spiritual path. They are tied down to the world. Why are they tied down to the world? Because of their own habits. But are their habits cast in stone? Not so. It was formed by previous actions. So today's actions can change it. What kind of actions? By selfless service. Selfless service. Anaga, what do you need for selfless service? Renunciation. Step by step. First, by selfless service, you can change your character. You can change your future. You can change your present and your future. All you have to do is become selfless. To become selfless, what do you have to do? Renounce selfishness. You have to give up your deep-rooted desire to be only interested in one's own welfare or the welfare of what one considers as one's own. What should we do? How to get rid of it? Now, consider everybody as your own. Because if you are currently only interested in those who belong to you, consider everybody as your family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Yadamure Yavarum Kelir. Everybody are our friends. Everybody is our relations. Everybody are our people. Andaru Manavade. Andaru. All people are our people only. Nobody is separate. Nobody is a stranger to us. Nobody is a stranger. There are no strangers. Only people have not yet met. There is no stranger. Nobody is a stranger to us. They are all belonging to the same divinity, the divine family. So selfless service. Be selfless. For that, renounce your selfishness. How can you renounce selfishness so easily? What will help you? Bhakti, devotion. Devotion. Next Swami speaks about is devotion. It is only bhakti that can slowly get rid of our selfishness in us. How to strengthen bhakti? Prayer. Prarthana through prayer. What is the prayer? What is the prayer? Prayer and Nityakinkaratam prarthaye. We have been taught what to pray for. What should I pray for? Etrikum yavavibaravikum undannod utromeyavom unakera maachaivom. We have been taught what is prayer. Nothing else is prayer. What should we do? What is our prayer? Basic prayer is there, give us this day our daily bread. That is not for us. I'll make it clear, that is not for us. That is for those who are still bothered only about bread. We want a bit more. We want jam also. We want butter and jam also. What mere bread. Give us daily bread. Daily bread. At least in Indian form, no, bread means naan or chapati. But should we have some paneer curry for it? Or some vegetable jal fry for it? Or some malai kofta with it? What is the use of merely bread? If you are very hungry, if you are very poor and hungry, you have nothing to eat for the last 4 days, even plain bread is enough for you. We are not like that. What does it mean? If you are just setting out on the spiritual path, there's one story. But once you have established yourself, once you have seen the Lord Himself, once you have heard the truth being repeatedly told, you cannot now strive for mere bread. Bread is not physical bread. The mere ABCs of the very beginning stages of spirituality is also called as bread only. What do we want? We want to serve Him. That is the prayer that we should have. Give me bread, give me the opportunity to serve you. That is what we want. That is what we should be praying for. So what is prarthana? What is prayer? Nitya kinkarata. Eternal service to you, Bhagavan, is what I should be praying for. Nothing else. That's prayer. But how will I get all of this? By what means will I get all of this? Anga Swami says, through good thinking, sadalochana, sadvichara, the right inquiry. Otherwise, if you do not inquire, if you do not make an inquiry, what will you consider important? Getting a good education, getting a good job, getting a good partner, getting a good family, getting a good house in a good suburb. What else will you consider important? Getting the right insurance, getting the right superannuation plan, getting the right, little extra. Isn't it? Without inquiry, we will blindly follow the path that is taken by billion people on earth. A billion people on the earth are walking in the same path. Rut. Nothing else can even occur to them. Life, they already mapped out for them. What should I do? I should study. After I study, I should get a job. After I get a job, I should look for a partner. After I have a partner, I should have a baby. After I have a baby, I should ask for a promotion. After I get a promotion, I should have a second baby. After I have a second baby, I should concentrate on their education. After I concentrate on the education, I should look for their marriage. After I look for their marriage, I should start praying for a grandchild. After I get a grandchild, I should keep worrying all the time about the welfare of my grandchild, my child, my wife, my husband, my family, my property, my superannuation. What should I do? Finally, I should die. Yes or no? A billion people are following just this. Yes or no? Isn't it? Now you have to ask yourself, are you also in that number? Hmm? Oh, how I want to be in that number. And the number. Which number do you want to be? Hmm? Isn't it? It is pathetic. So let these things come to you on their own. That is your prarabdha. Always I say the same thing. Never change my tune. I am not saying you should stop studying. I am not saying you should give up your job. I am not saying you should not get married. I am not saying you should divorce your wife if you are already married. I am not saying you should not have children. I am not saying give up your children for adoption if you already have them. I am not saying all that. If it comes because of prarabdha, put up with it. But don't ask for it. Don't hanker. When will you hanker? If you are not using your noggin, you will hanker for it. If you are a bloody idiot, you will hanker for it. If you have absolutely nothing inside your skull but hot air or clay, then you will hanker for it. If you have even a little bit of sadalochana, sadvichara, a little bit of intelligence, inquiry, you will not simply hanker for it, you will question it. Why? What for? What am I going to gain from it? Then you will question it. That is why here Swami speaks about sadachara. If you do all of this and the old habits that bind us to the earth, what are these old habits? These are the old habits that I spoke about. Old habits die hard. But these are the old habits. Doing the same thing. Old habits annaka, not just old because of you've been doing it for a long time in this birth. For many births you have done this. For births together you have done the same porcine lifestyle. You know what it means? Porcine lifestyle means the lifestyle of a pig. If I say it nicely, it means nice. Huh? It looks very polished. Porcine. Pig in artham. We have been living our lives like pigs. What does the pig do? What does the pig do? Wallow in its own style. Like that we are also living our lives. Should not do that. Discard these old habits through these 5 positive things that Swami has spoken about. Selfless service, renunciation, devotion, prayer, and right inquiry. Through all of these 5, you can get rid of all your old habits and reshape your character. The purpose of all spiritual literature, poems, epics, books and periodicals is to discuss the nature of this character, its ways and vagaries, and to inform about the process of reshaping it. The Sanatana Sarathi has just this aim in view. It does not seek either the exhibition of erudition or the acquisition of name and fame. But it has to be said that the mere reading of a book or a journal will not vouchsafe discrimination. That which is seen, heard, or read must be put into practice in actual life. Without this, reading is a mere waste of time. If anything is read to pass the time, it passes the time, but nothing remains. Upon the purpose of all Shastra, Purana, Itihasa, everything, all scriptural works, the purpose of it all is to show us how we can reshape our behavior, our character. Swami says Sanatana Sarathi is also for that, but at the same time he says simply reading is of no use. If you read merely to pass time, then time will pass. Not only will time pass, what you have read will also pass with time. Time will pass with what you read, and what you read will pass with time. Nothing will remain. It will be of no use to you. Clear? So, what should be done? In between reading and accomplishing something, there is something in between. What is it? Putting it into practice. Deenini acharyanalo pettali. Swami will often say, you have to put it into Deeni practical lo pettali. Swami should say, you should make it practical in life. Otherwise, it is merely from pustakam to mastakam. Swami would say, Pustakam to Mastakam. From the book straight to the head. What is the use of that? Deenini Acharanalo Petali. Deenini Practicallo Petali. This should have to be practiced by us. Books are available in plenty and at very cheap prices. The Vedas, the Shastras, the Puranas can be obtained and read by everyone. There is also no dearth of spiritual teachers. Schools abound and are ostensibly granting the boon of knowledge. Facilities for training the mind are plenty and within reach. And yet, from nowhere is heard the note of content at having partaken of the nectar of spiritual wisdom. Again, Swami is going back to what he started off in the beginning. Books are available. Anybody can read. You can buy them and read. You don't even have to buy them. You can download them or free and read. Every book that is available for purchase is also available for free. You can all become har pirates and pirate whatever you want. Me hearties. You can also start becoming pirates. Everything can be read. Institutions are also available. They'll even give you certificates. Certificate course in Indian philosophy, Shastra. Facilities for training the mind. So many yoga programs are available now. Plenty and within reach. But Swami says, nowhere is heard the note of tripti. The sound of contentment is not arising. After having partaken of spiritual wisdom, jnana, there should be avada. When you have eaten full, in some cultures, you have to burp. If you do not burp, they consider you as not having enjoyed the meal. So the sound of content should be heard. After you read the content, there should be the sound of content. Contentment should be there. Tripti should be there. And the tripti nudiya sound eppdina Vedam solradhu ah oh ha oh ha oh Samavedam. Samathnudiya shabdam vandu shabdam of tripti. Avada அப்படின்னா sound of contentment. That is why Samagana Priya சொல்றோம். Bhagavan is said to be Samagana Priya. Samavedam is the least heard Vedam everywhere. And if somebody starts Sama, nobody has patience for it also. And you can go. And many times I've heard Samavedam, especially after singing our bhajans. Samagana Priyakara, Sai Shankara, Lagatama. Samaganam, somewhere I heard Samavedam was being chanted. I went and sat to listen to Samagana. After some time, what is going on? I started having serious doubts about God's taste in music. He's liking this? What is wrong with him? What is Sama? The sound of Tripti is Sama. That Bhagavan loves to hear. When you don't have to intone it in Samaveda chants. If you simply say, Bhagavane, Tripti. Bhagavane, I am satisfied. Oh Lord, I am so satisfied. You are giving me so much. I have nothing to complain about. Kurai ondrum illai Marai Murti Kanna Kurai ondrum illai Kanna Kurai ondrum illai Govinda. That's Samaveda. This is Samagana. This is Samagana. I have nothing lacking. I have nothing wanting. I am satisfied, O Lord. This is Samaveda. Samagana. Bhagavan loves this Samagana. This is the note of content. When I see the heaps of books that lie around everywhere, I feel that wisdom inside a book cannot succeed in penetrating the heavy binding and emerge into light. Swami says, when I see books lying around everywhere, they are all in hard cover books, thick binding. Binding is nice, but sometimes they are bound so well that the knowledge is also bound inside. It cannot come out. The binding is so tight, knowledge cannot come out. God is hidden behind mountain ranges of lust, anger, envy, and selfishness. The sun of wisdom is hidden behind these huge heaps of books. Books are there, wisdom is not there. Books are there, wisdom is not there because the wisdom is hiding inside the book. Similarly, God is hiding behind mountain ranges called Kama, Krodha, Irsha, Asuya, selfish Swartha, selfishness. When we have all of these things, we cannot see God. It's only when we get rid of it, we can see Him. Similarly, knowledge is hidden in books. The books have spread to the all corners of the earth, but wisdom has not spread. A human is still not very far from the ape. An attractive binding and title, a beautiful picture, these are what the reader wants. Meaning, transitory pleasure, momentary contentment. Transitory pleasure, momentary contentment is what we are seeking. Swami is making a metaphor of it here. Just as we are judging a book by the cover, so also we are judging life also by a mere outer, external cover, not going deep within. Only those who by means of discrimination select the books they read and practice what they read can realize the truth and enjoy everlasting bliss. Only those people live worthwhile lives. Therefore, those who seek the highest path and who revel in thoughts of God should strive to read only the life stories of saints and sages, the books that help in the contemplation of the divine. Aimless reading of books all and sundry, whatever comes to hand, will only make confusion worse. Confusion only worse confounded. It gives no profit, it confers no peace. Instead of reading all kinds of shastras, instead of reading all kinds of Upanishads and so on and so forth, what should we read? Read the lives of saints and sages. Why? Their lives are living Upanishad. Their lives are walking, talking, living Upanishad. Yeah. Upanishad படிச்சா அப்புறம் what will you do? If you take one Upanishad அப்படின்னா, then there are so many interpretations of that Upanishad. Shankara school interpretation, அப்புறம் ராமானுஜா school interpretation, மாத்வா school of interpretation, அப்புறம் நிம்பர்கா school of interpretation, அப்புறம் சைத்தன்ய மகாபிரபு அவளோட ஸ்கூல் ஆஃப் இன்டர்பிரிட்டேஷன், இப்படி ஒன்று இன்டர்பிரட் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்காங்க ஆளுக்காக. அப்போ எத்த படிச்சிங்க கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆகும். ஸோ வாட் ஷுட் ஐ ரீட் அப்படின்னா, சுவாமி says read the lives of saints and sages. What will they do? They will inspire you. You will not know anything. Read the life of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Read the life of Ramana Bhagavan. Read our Swami's own life, the various little things that he does in everybody's lives. What will it do? It will inspire you. No confusion. Reading everything, Swami says it is only going to make you more and more confused. So be discriminative. You must choose. I'm not saying that Upanishads are going to confuse everybody. You may be qualified to read it. You may be well placed to understand it. By all means, read it. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, the Shastras are also there to be read only. But how do we start? Where do we begin? Swami is telling us how to begin. Begin with reading the lives of Mahatmas. Listen to the lives of the great ones. Follow their lives and see what they did. They have simplified the teachings of the Shastras by practicing it in their lives. Now, you don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. You simply have to follow it. Above all, cultivate one-pointed steadfastness, ekagrata, in whatever you do. Above all, cultivate one-pointed steadfastness in whatever you do. Ekagratana, Swami is giving a very beautiful explanation for it. It means one-pointed determination. Determination also should be there. It should also be one-pointed. I am determined in 10 things. One thing and I am determined in it. Ekagrata. Impartial vision, samadrishti, is auspicious vision, shubhadrishti. Samadrishti is shubhadrishti. Ekagrata and samadrishti. Two things Swami is talking about. Ekagrata, one-pointed concentration, one-pointed attention. Whatever it is you do, you must give your entirety to it. If you are singing, your entire being should be involved only in singing. Nothing else should come into your mind at that time. What other people are thinking, what is going to be there for lunch after singing. இதெல்லாம் நினைக்கப்படாது. Singing மாத்திரம்தான். If I'm chanting the name of God, only that should occupy my entirety of my concentration, of my being, of my attention, whatever it is that you're doing. If you're studying your school work, you must concentrate only on that. You may ask, but you just now said all this education is useless. Why should I? Education is useless, but concentration is not useless. Your school education may be waste. According to me, it is. But the concentration that you are practicing while studying can be applied later on into spirituality also. Is it not? So no matter what you are doing, doesn't matter. If you are chopping vegetables also, you must chop beautifully. You must chop nicely. Everything should be the same size. What will it do? It shows you have concentration. It shows you have ekagrata. Your spirituality also will be that only. Mahatmas, Ramana Maharshi's handwriting itself would be so beautiful. Like print it would be. Full attention, full concentration will be there on writing. So it will be so beautiful. Anybody, if you pay attention to what you are writing and write it properly, your handwriting also will be nice. Isn't it? You don't have to be a painter to get good handwriting. What is it a result of? It is a result of concentration. He would chop vegetables, it seems. When Ramana Bhagavan used to chop vegetables, every piece would be the exact same size. You can measure it, it seems. Kavla concentration. For Atma Jnani, should he not be concentrating on the Atma? Vendakayum Atma. The eggplant is also Atma only. The okra is also Atma only. Everything is Atma. Nothing will have to fail in that. A story comes to mind. Once Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had gone to someone's house, and along with a few of his attendants and disciples who always used to be there, Latu was there with him at that time. Latu Maharaj. He was a rustic boy from Bihar, and he was so attracted to Thakur, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He was actually a servant of somebody, and somehow he managed to, his yearning was enough, and Ramakrishna himself said, leave this boy with me here. So he got to stay with Ramakrishna. He had also gone with him. And when they had gone to this place, after visiting this devotee's house, they got back into the carriage. When they got back into the carriage and they started, Ramakrishna looked at Latu and said, did you pick up the hand towel? He had a hand towel that he would use, like a handkerchief. He would hand towel. Did you bring the hand towel? Oh, I forgot the hand towel. He said, I forgot the hand towel. Ramakrishna would take him to task for it. He would say, my mind is always soaring into the divine realms. In spite of that, I remember my little things. What business do you have to forget? How can you forget the towel? My mind is lost at the slightest mention, it goes into samadhi. In spite of that, I am not absent-minded. If anybody has the right to be absent-minded, it is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. But he says, I am not absent-minded. What business do you have being absent-minded? You can't even keep a track of these things. It's only a hand towel. Maybe he was remembering God and he forgot the hand towel. If you cannot even remember the hand towel, how will you remember God? If you cannot even remember something tangible in front of you, how will you remember that which is abstract and intangible? If you cannot even concentrate on the task at hand, how are you going to concentrate constantly upon the omnipresent divinity that is invisible to you? So whatever action that we do, that is why actions are given to us. We may call them prarabdha, but another way to look at them is also means for progress. They are all steps for progress. Whatever action is given to you, maybe it is at work, maybe it is at in the household activity, maybe it is school work. Whatever it is that you do, pay attention to it, because each little thing is an opportunity for you to train your concentration. Straight away, if you sit down to meditate, you will not be able to meditate. I will write and give you. I will sit and meditate for 2 hours. Can you meditate for 2 hours? Can you meditate for 2 minutes without the mind already wandering here and there? So give up your idea. I will practice concentration by meditating. Practice concentration first in your waking moments where you're running around doing things. You do it with concentration. Do it with ekagrata. That is very important for us to have. Ekagrata, above all, cultivate this ekagrata in everything that you do. That is why Swami says in whatever you do. He doesn't say only in meditation. Cultivate ekagrata only in meditation, let the rest of it go on. Swami Chala. Use every little thing as an opportunity to cultivate. Then give up everything. You give up everything. That is not for the sake. See, in the olden days, there is a sharpening stone that is used for knives. Whetstone, they call it whetstone. You take that whetstone and you sharpen the blade with it, isn't it? But you don't use the knife to cut that stone. You then cut a vegetable or a fruit. The knife is sharpened on the whetstone, but it is used elsewhere. Like that, you sharpen your concentration on all the things of this world and use it elsewhere. That doesn't mean you should use it in this itself. Use it for God alone. Use it for adhyatma unnati, for your spiritual progress. You do not use it for all the worldly things. But where else will you cultivate it? So if you have some job at hand, you do it with 100% concentration. Mind should not stir here and there. That itself is concentrating on divinity only. Because where is divinity not? Where is divinity not? What is divinity? Is it not the omnipresence that is everywhere? So if I am concentrating on cutting vegetables, is the vegetable also not God? Is the moment also not God? Early in the morning one day, Ramana Bhagavan went to the kitchen to chop vegetables, as was usual in those days for him to do. And Kunjuswami, who was Bhagavan's attendant, also accompanied him to go and cut the vegetables there. And he also wanted to go and attend the Veda Parayana when it comes, because he wanted to sit and meditate at that time. Before Veda Parayana, he wanted to get some time to sit and meditate. So while he was chopping vegetables, he happened to look at the wall clock to see how much more time is left so that the chopping can be finished, and then he'll have some time to go and sit and do meditation before the Vedic Pandits come early in the morning to do Veda Parayana. It was silent time. So he happened to, from his chopping, he took his eyes to look at the clock. Immediately Bhagavan caught him and said, "Where are you looking? Where are you looking? Why are you taking your attention away from the task at hand? Why are you already jumping into the future?" This itself is meditation. If you concentrate on this, you don't have to go and separately sit to do meditation. This itself is meditation only. So in the day-to-day activities, cutting vegetables, chopping vegetables, but you can make it a meditation. You can use it to practice concentration, ekagrata. Everything is divinity only. Those who have absorbed themselves in divinity have not been absent-minded. You have to understand this. Those who have been absorbed in divinity were not losers. They were very successful. Yeah, they were very successful. ஏமாளிகள் கிடையாது. So those who say, no, because of God I am losing, they are the ones, they are neither here nor there. Use every opportunity, because see, prarabdha, you cannot run from prarabdha. You cannot escape the work that is coming to you. Use it instead. Don't simply do it and then get out of it. If you are clever, you will use what is given to you. If people throw bricks at you, build a house with it. If people throw lemons at you, make lemonade. Like that, if whatever life throws at you, if you are intelligent, vallavanukku pullum ayudam. If you are intelligent, you will use your prarabdha to improve. You will use the effects of your bad karma to progress. ஏன் பண்ணப்படாது? The lion, though the king of the forest, turns back every few steps while walking through the woods because it is afraid of being pursued. Fear in the mind makes the vision falter. Violence within the heart distorts the vision and distracts the sight. Therefore, people must have impartial vision. All creation must appear as equally auspicious to their eyes. They must look upon all with as much love and faith as they have in themselves, for nothing is evil in creation. No, not even an iota. Evil appears as such only through faulty vision. Creation gets colored by the nature of the glasses we wear. By itself is eternally pure and holy. So first ekagrata, the second thing is samadrishti. Samadrishti, equalness of vision. What is this equalness of vision? Seeing everything as divine. Seeing everything as auspicious. Whatever happens to us is auspicious only. Everybody around us are harbingers of auspiciousness only. They are all bringing good things only to us. Nobody is bringing any evil to us. This is the vision that Swami says we should have. Nothing is evil. When do we have the idea of evil? If it is there in your heart only, will it be there outside? A small man judges everybody based on the smallness of his intellect. A little man judges everything based on the littleness of his own intellect. A selfish man will think everybody is selfish. An egoistic man will think everybody is egoistic. So, that is nothing but a fault in our own vision. We have a fault, so we think everybody is hounding us. We think everybody is persecuting us. Everybody is. Violence in the heart distracts the vision, Swami says here. Everybody is divine. If we cannot get over this, then we cannot make any progress in spirituality. Somehow by excluding the world, I will make progress in spirituality, not possible. You have to accept it. You have to include it. You have to include everything. You have to include everybody and see them all as messengers of your Lord. You must see everybody as coming from Him only, for some purpose. You may not understand the purpose. Not understanding the purpose does not mean inauspiciousness. It only means lack of understanding. So have impartial vision. Swami says, nothing is evil in creation. No, not even an iota. Because it has been created by Bhagavan. Ishvara has created it. How can he create evil? How can Ishvara create evil? He cannot create evil. Not possible. Everything is auspiciousness only. By itself, it is eternally pure and holy. There have always been, there are, and there will always be teachers who reveal to people and instruct them in attaining the heights they can reach through one-pointed steadfastness and the full manifestation of their physical, mental, and intellectual powers. But people's minds revel in external objects and in the purposeless observation and criticism of the outside world. How can their minds trained to be steadfast? Each one should ask themselves this question. Great Mahatmas and outstanding sages were also people like me. They were also embodied beings like me. If they could attain perfection, then so can I if I follow their method. What profit do I get by spending my time in discovering the faults and the weaknesses of others? So, Swami enna solrar, all of us have the opportunity. We will be given the training. If we are ready, we will be shown the way to manifest to the fullest our physical, mental and intellectual powers and attain the highest goal through one-pointed steadfastness. All of us can attain it. But people's minds, unfortunately, are rejoicing and reveling and relishing only external objects. And not only that, in purposeless observation and criticism of the external world. What are they doing? Purduka urivari sudulanna miru siddhamotu rekadu shraddatoda. Swami says, you gossip na ellarkum pidikkum. Everybody likes gossip. Various people will be interested in the gossip relating to different. Some people like gossip about film stars. Some people like gossip about sports stars. Sports star interview பார்த்துட்டு அவன் என்ன சொன்னா நமக்கு என்ன போச்சு? பிரியமா ஆனா வால்மீகியா வியாசனா? வேத வாக்கா அவன் வாக்கு? They will listen with great interest. They will listen to interviews from film stars or interviews by sports stars. What for? Are they Valmiki and Vyasa? Are they going to spout extraordinary words of wisdom for you to follow? Useless thing they will say. All jokers they are. Or politicians. What is the use of all these? What are they're useless observation, purposeless observation. No point to serve from all of these. Or else what do? Unnecessary criticism of the outside world. What is the profit that we are going to gain by looking at the dirt of the other person? We are finding faults in other people. What is the fault? As it is a fault in him. Are you going to go to your neighbor's house and look into their toilet to see what is inside? Tell me. Will you do that? Will you go to your neighbor? Wait, don't flush. I want to check. Isn't it disgusting, the thought itself? What is the fault in a person? It is like excreta only. A mistake or a fault in a person, in another person, is rubbish. It is unwanted waste. It is a waste product. And what are you interested in analyzing that? Not only analyzing it, calling it out also. What is our gain? What are we going to gain by listing the faults of another person? That's what Swami says here. Swami says, instead of wasting our time in criticizing others, you look at the lives of Mahatmas and Mahapurushas. You will then find out, understand, they are also people like me. They could attain the highest. Why cannot I attain the highest? Instead of looking at the great people and trying to find out how they attained the highest, why should I look at the faults in others? What is it going to do to me? If I look at the virtues in sages, I will also become virtuous like them. If I look at the faults in the fellow being around me, I will also become faulty. Is it not? Jayamani jaisa bhava, taya taisa anubhava. As is the feeling in your mind, so is your experience. If the feeling in the mind is only faults of others, your experience will also be faulty only. So what business do I have trying to find faults in other people? What is it to me? Can I emancipate them? Have I emancipated myself? What business? Emancipate other people are there who will emancipate. No? There are others to emancipate. There are jnanis are there who will go and emancipate them. You don't worry. You first concentrate on your own self. Therefore, thus, Swami says, the first spiritual sadhana is to search for the faults and weaknesses within yourself and to strive to correct them and become perfect. You get rid of your faults instead of looking at the faults of others. Fault na enna? Immediately you should not think about, oh, should I look at all the weaknesses that I have listed on. Only one fault you have. Only one fault you have. You correct that one fault, everything is alright. What is the fault? Dehabhimana, attachment to the body. Selfishness is the fault. Selfishness is the fault. You already fault is pointed out. It is very easy. Selfishness alone is the fault. Get rid of it. That is where I should be making my efforts. Unceasing toil of each succeeding day has as its aim and justification this consummation to make one's last days sweet and pleasant. But each day also has its evening. If the day is spent in good deeds, then the evening blesses us with deep sleep, invigorating, refreshing sleep, the sleep about which it is said that it is akin to samadhi, nidra, samadhi sthitihi. We work hard every day. What are we working so hard? So that when we retire, we can pass our time comfortably in relative peace and security until we pass away. That is how people are gearing their lives. Yeah, that's how we are living our lives. That's why we are working so hard. You're buying a property, you're investing in shares, you're putting money into your superannuation, you're doing this, that and the other, so that when you retire, you have something comfortable to go on with. But Swami says, that is the evening of your life. What about today, this evening, the actual evening? Every day you're working today so that you may retire 20, 30 years from now. Okay, but what about now, 30 minutes from now? What are you going to do? You're going to sleep. 30 minutes from now, 40 minutes from now, 1 hour from now, you'll sleep. Is that sleep not important? Like Swami says here, if the day is spent in good deeds, if you spend the day doing good to others, then what will happen? God will give you a reward for it. What is the reward God will give? Good sleep is the reward He gives you. See, children sleep beautifully. Children sleep beautifully. Little children sleep so well. Yeah, they do not have any, that intentional malice is not there in their heart. They are not going about doing harm to others. They are giving joy to everybody. A little child comes and gives joy to everybody. They sleep well. Old people complain, I do not get sleep, I do not get sleep. You look at what you have been doing the whole day. Swami says, you look at what you have been doing the whole day. If you are not getting good sleep, how have you spent your day in a park? Have you spent your day selfishly? Have you spent the whole day watching TV? Then you will not get sleep in the night. Spend the day for others. Spend the day for others. You may, I'm old, what can I do for others? Pray for others. Pray for others. Can you not do that? Spend the day in prayer. When you hear about somebody, and you'll keep hearing. In a world, everywhere there is bad news only in this world. What good news comes to us? Very rarely good news seems to come to us. Somebody is not well, somebody is having this problem, somebody is having a physical problem, somebody is having mental problem, somebody is having financial problem, somebody is having visa problem, somebody is having job problem, somebody is having child problem, some problem or the other. What do? Pray. You do japa. You simply sit down and say Sai Ram, 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 Sai Ram. 108 times you do Sai Ram. Think of one person's problem. Swami, let that problem be solved for that person. I will do 108 Sai Rams for that. You read a chapter in Satcharita, say, oh Swami, it's a problem for them. I will read the Satcharita for their sake. You will do japa when you have a problem. You will read Satcharita when you have a problem. But have you read the Satcharita, or have you ever done japa when somebody else has a problem? That is where your spirituality comes into play. Somebody has a problem now. What are you doing about it? Can you do 10 Hanuman Chalisas for them? Somebody has a problem. Can you do japa for them? 108 Gayatris for them? That is how you should be living your life. If you live your life like that, you will sleep well. You will sleep well. Swami says here, God will bless us with deep sleep, invigorating, refreshing sleep, which is like samadhi. One has only a short span of life on earth. But even in this short lifespan, one can attain divine bliss by wisely and carefully using the time. Two people are in appearance the same, ostensibly of the same mold, growing up under the same condition, one turning out to be an angel and the other staying on with their animal nature. What is the reason for this differential development? Habits, the behavior formed out of these habits, and the character that behavior is solidified into are the reason for it. The little actions that you do become your habits. Your habits then form your behavior. Your behavior shapes your character. Tiny, tiny actions become habits. Habits become behavior. Behavior becomes your character, and people are creatures of their character. As you your character, so that is how you are. If you deconstruct character, it is but a combination of behaviors. If you deconstruct behavior, it is but a combination of habits. If you deconstruct habits, it is the day-to-day activities that you do. If you deconstruct the activities, it is the thoughts that you have. To a superficial observer, life appears to be a rotation of eating and drinking, toiling and sleeping. But verily, life has a much greater meaning, a much deeper significance. Life is a yajna. Life is a sacrifice. It is a yajna. Each little act is an offering to the Lord. If the day is spent in deeds performed in this spirit of surrender, what else can sleep be but total immersion in samadhi sthiti? So sweet, so simple, so unspeakably holy, these words. Life is a yajna. It is not spent in eating, drinking, toiling. Almost like toileting. Eating, drinking, then what else? Toilet, and sleeping. Verily, Swami says, truly, In truth, life is a yajna, which is a holy, sacred sacrifice. What sacrifice is it now? Each little act that you do, every single act that you do must be an offering to the divine, must be dedicated to the divine. If the day is spent in deeds performed in the spirit of surrender, then what else can sleep be but samadhi? So this is a recipe for insomnia. Prema Vahini kulla 6 ghanta. Who realized that inside Prema Vahini, Swami has put in a little recipe for insomnia. Drink a glass of warm milk in the night, some lavender oil you put on your forehead, you drink some, sleep tea or something. Live your life in selfless surrender. Do little acts of help or sacrifice to others. Live for others. Live for Him. Last time I spoke about it. God first, others next, donkey last. Is God God. Donkey first, others next, God last. Is dog. So you should remember, you should choose whether you want to live the life of God or life of dog. Donkey first. Put this donkey first. Then others, then God first. Others next. The self last. This donkey the last. Abadi, if you live your life, then every night we will have good sleep. People commit the great fault of identifying themselves with the body. People accumulate a variety of things for the upkeep and the maintenance and the comfort of the body. Even when the body becomes weak and decrepit with age, people attempt to bolster it by some means or the other. But how long can death be postponed? When Yama's warrant comes, each one has to depart. Position, pride, power, all vanish before death. Realizing this, strive day and night with purity of body, mind and spirit to realize the higher self by service of all living beings. The body must be preserved as a vehicle for this service. But remember, you are not this body cannot be you. Adhiya Swami told. Again and again Swami keeps repeating this. People don't focus on it. And Swami's mainstay, see, we've already seen in Prema Vahini how many times he repeated it. We are seeing it in Prema Vahini, now he's repeating it. You are the Atma, you are not the body. You are the Atma, you are not the body. You are the Atma, you are not the body. You are not the body. But what is the body for? Paropakarartham idam sharira. Paropakara, giving joy to others. That is the purpose of this body. We are living to give joy to others. How many people did you give joy to today? How many people did you give joy to today? Not even to yourself. What a useless day, Appo. Did we do something for somebody? Did you help somebody? Did you smile at somebody? Did you say a loving word to somebody? That itself will give joy to them. Isn't it? If we are not giving joy, then today is a waste day. Today is not Thursday. Today is waste day. Enna prayojanam? What is the use of wasting our life like this? Lifespan is only short. In the short span of life itself, we have the capacity to realize the truth. It is given to us, provided we sadviniyogamu chayali, sadupayogamu chayali. Swami would say, you have to use wisely and carefully the time that has been allotted to you. What is the wise use of time? You love everybody, you serve everybody. It is the best use of time. Give joy to others. Giving joy to others is very easy. Isn't it? Give joy to others. If you cannot meet anybody, I'm in isolation, COVID isolation, I cannot meet anybody, how to give joy to them? Joy need not be given only to their face. Joy can be given to their antaryami, to the antaratma. You sit here and you focus on sending love to them. You meditate while you are doing your prayers, while you are doing your japa, you do japa for them. You meditate for them. That has given joy to them. Isn't it? There are million ways to give joy to others. Millions of ways by which you can provide ananda to everybody. Isn't it? Something is happening in Ukraine. You can do 108 japa for them and say, some lokas mastas kino bhavantu swami. loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Chalalame. This also gives joy to the world. This also gives ananda to everybody. There is no excuse. There is no, I'm busy with work. How long does it say to take loka samasta sukhino bhavantu? How long does it take to do a bit of prayer for somebody? Yeah? So there is absolutely no excuse. The more time you have, the more it should be spent for the sake of everybody. Why are we not doing it? That is what Swami is talking about here. Identifying ourselves with this body, working all the time only for the upkeep, maintenance and comfort of this body, providing for this body all the time. Even when it becomes weak and old, we bolster it with various means. You will eat something or use some kind of various kind of things. People will inject various things into their faces. Do all kinds of things. But no matter what you do, can death be postponed? Can death be avoided? When Yama's warrant comes, all of us have to go. At that time, no matter what we have accumulated, is all of no value to us. Realizing this, strive day and night with purity of body, mind and spirit. You must strive to realize the higher self by living by serving the other people, serving all living beings, not just people, serving all living beings. Give joy to everybody. The body should be preserved and looked after to be of service to the Lord. For that reason, we have to look after it. But remember, even then, even when it is engaged in service to the Lord, you are still not the body. Okay, I am engaged in serving the Lord, but if I still think I am the body, you will still be miserable. You will be miserably serving the Lord. Instead of happily serving the Lord, you will be miserably serving the Lord. I owe my body, what to do? Body cannot be you. That is the highest and the holiest Mahavakya, the spiritual maxim. You are the indestructible Atma Tattva. You are not this body, you are the imperishable, indestructible Atma Tattva. Once, Swami was limping a little for some reason. Apo, somebody asked Swami, are you alright? Swami said, I am energy. I am not this body. I am energy. Ask about me, not the body. I am Shakti. I am Shakti. I am energy. Are you alright? The body is limping. I am Shakti Swarupa. I am perfection. I am Atma. Nothing is wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with me. Body is Body is limping today, tomorrow it will walk all right. But I am Shakti. So ask about me. You should be interested in me. Don't be interested in merely the physical, the body. But what do we do? You must think about it. What do we do when we ask somebody, how are you? When we ask them the very, very innocuous question, very common question, how are you? Who is the you we are referring to? The you we are referring to is the same as the I we consider ourselves to be. Body. Isn't it? How are you? How is the body? How can I be? How are you? How else can I be? I am divine. How else can I be? So what is the question? How is your body? How are you is wrong. How is your body? Or how is the health? That's okay. How is the health of the body? How is your health is also not right. My health is divine. How is the health of the body? How will the health of the body be? How else will it be? Body nale adane sharira deha something or the other is wrong with it. Something or the other is wrong with it. If you think no, nothing is wrong with it, you have not discovered it. That is all. See, when you are young, you do not know what is wrong with your body. Because there is enough energy, it doesn't register. As you become old, the tolerance reduces. That is why all aches and pains are seen. And what is it? It has always been there. You have not felt it at that time. Some people are asymptomatically COVID positive. No? The virus is there, but there are no symptoms. Like that, pain is there. You have not yet felt it. As you grow older, you start feeling it. So how else will the body be? But the whole question, how are you itself, is useless to ask. It is for the sake of this Atmic principle, the Atma Tattva, that you have this body. So, in the attempt to realize that Parameshwara here and now, you must be prepared to offer this body as a sacrifice at any moment. Look at these beautiful words. The holiest and highest Tattva, Mahavakya, is that you are the indestructible Atma Tattva and you have this body only so that you may realize this truth. Therefore, in order to realize this truth, you must be willing to sacrifice this body at any moment. You understand? You understand how it works? Somebody calls you and gives you $50 in your hand and says, go and buy $50 worth of milk from the supermarket. So why do you have the $50 in your hand? Why have you been given that $50 in your hand? To buy $50 worth of milk. When you go to the supermarket and you say, no, but I don't want to give this money. I want to laminate it. I want to emboss it. I want to order a box with velvet everywhere so that I can place it comfortably inside it. What is the point of it? The point of it is to be given in exchange for that. That is why it is given to you in the first place. That $50 note was given to you so that you can exchange it for the milk. Don't ask me why you would buy $50 worth of milk. It's a different story. But maybe you are making pal paisam to give joy to everybody. So then you have to buy that much milk. Your point of that note that has been given to you is to be exchanged for this product. The point of this body is so that it can be exchanged for sakshatkara, self-realization. It is to be used for it. It is not for any other purpose. It is not so that you can birth children like donkeys, dogs and pigs. It is not so that you can cram your head with all kinds of rubbish knowledge. It is not so that you can buy houses or wear fancy clothes and strut around. What is the body for? To realize the truth, to realize God. No other purpose. It has nothing else to do. Everything else is secondary, incidental, unnecessary. As Swami says in Samashavas. What is the purpose of this body? Why did God give me this body? Why did I have this body? Why this body? Why could it not have been a donkey body or a pig body? I could have had any body, no? Why this human body? Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham. This Narajanma has been given to me. This human form has been given to me so that I may use this human form to recognize the reality, the divinity within myself. If I am not using it for that, then I am wasting it. So, that is why here Swami says, it is for the sake of the Atma Tattva, the Atma principle, that you have this body. So, in order to realize that Parameshwara, that Atma Tattva, you must be ready to exchange this body. You must be willing to give it up in sacrifice. Utilize your authority over this body to foster the welfare of the society, of everybody. The body is but an instrument, an implement given by God. Let it serve its purpose. Use it for what it has been given to you. Don't abuse it. Don't misuse it. Use it rightly. Use it correctly. Until the realization of the purpose for which this body, this implement, this instrument has been given, it is your duty to watch over it diligently and protect it from injury and disablement. During winter, woolen clothes are worn to withstand the rigor of the cold. But when the cold subsides, they are discarded. So too, when the cold gales of material life don't affect us in the least, this material body is no longer essential. One is conscious then only of the incorporeal body. Not the physical form, but a divine form within us. Until then, this body is required. What is the purpose of this body? To serve everybody. To realize the truth and to serve everybody. Atmano mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. When the Ramakrishna mission was formed, as the motto of that, all these sannyasis who got together decided on something. Atmano mokshartam jagad hitaya cha. Atmano mokshartam, for the sake of self-realization, self-liberation, and jagad hita, and for the welfare of this society, for the world. So they said Ramakrishna mission has been formed for these two purposes, so that we may attain self-realization and help others also. This is not just the motto of Ramakrishna mission, it is the motto of each one of your lives too. Atmano mokshartam jagad hitaya cha. In fact, Atmano moksha itself is through jagad hita also. So, use the body for that purpose. When the rains come, earth and sky are one in one continuous downpour. It is indeed a beautiful, inspiring scene, a scene by which creation itself is teaching you to become one in unison with it. 3 lessons can be learned: the impermanence of created things, the role of a person as a servant, and God as the master. This creation is the wherewithal of the puja, the person is the worshipper, and God is the worshipped. The game called life is played with these. What is nature teaching us? Bhagavan is saying, nature is teaching us 3 things. 1, impermanence of all created things. Everything that is created is going to be destroyed. 2nd, each one of us is a servant of the divine. And 3rd, he is the master of us all. He is our master. He is our master. We are his servants. And the world is impermanent. These 3 things creation is teaching us. How? Because we are not in control. He is in control. See, the Advaita truth that I am the Brahman is not with respect to the world. It is entirely internal. Bhavadvaitam, no Kriyadvaitam, not in action. In action, what? Action la dasoham. Shivoham is bhavana. Dasoham is acharana. You have to understand this clearly. Shivoham bhavana. Shivoham, I am Shiva. That is an understanding. I am Shiva is not action. I am Shiva is not outside. You cannot go around clad in animal skins with snakes around, with matted locks and dancing here and there. Shivoham bhavana should be that I am Shiva. But externally, dasoham. I am only a servant. You are the master. I am a servant. Apo, this creation, 3 things are there. Swami says there are 3 things. What are the 3 things? Jiva, Ishvara, Jagat, Mummudal. In Ulladanarpadu, we refer to it as Mummudal. Mummudalai Yemmada Mummurkollum. What are the Mummudalna? Uyir, Karta, Ulaham. Jiva. Uyir, Karta, Ulah. Uyir, the individual soul. Ulah, the world. Karta, the Lord. These 3 things are given to everything. That is the game of life. The game of life is using these 3 principles. 1 is the world, creation. What is creation for? It is the raw material that we are using. I am speaking like Swami now. I just realized, getting into the act. I am told, like raw material. This creation is the puja samagri. It is the material that we use for doing the puja. Ishvara is the aradhya. We are the aradhaka. We are the worshipper. And what we are doing, life is aradhana. This life is aradhana. Idu dhara. In the bhumi irke, idu dhara. Idu or adhara. Idu or dhara. It is so that there can be constant aradhana of the Supreme Lord. That's Swami used to say Radha, Dhara, Abdin Swami Chalvar. Used to make a beautiful thing. What is Radha? Constant worship of the Lord. Constant aradhana of the Lord is Radha. So what do we worship him with? Creation. creation. Who is worshipped? He is worshipped. Who is worshipping? We are worshipping. And this game of life, Swami calls it a game. Why game? Small children, good children, not useless children, small good children with some spiritual vasanas, they will play a game. What game? Worship, puja game, they will play. How will they suddenly play that game? If they have seen their parents doing puja, they will play that game. If all they have seen their parents is carrying a puja, then they will not do any puja. So if parents have tappittavari, tappittavari, by mistake, if one day the parents have performed puja, then child may see it and also start doing. If parents do not know what is puja at all, other than some lady called puja, they do not know anything about puja, then the children also naturally will not know anything about puja. But generally, I am talking about families where older cultural habits may still prevail, they will do puja. But the children also will play puja game. They take some stones, some sand, they'll make something and they'll offer sand onto it. They will offer the stone as the food. They will offer the sand as the food. They will do something like that. Puja. Like that, this entire world. What do they do puja with? Whatever they get, they do puja with. Elders, if we do puja, we will grind some sandalwood paste. We will get vibhuti and kumkum. We will get milk and do abhishekam. We will get this. Children get all this. They go, and we will chase them away. So what will children do? They'll go to the garden. They'll take a stone and say, this is God. Then they'll take some sand and pour it on, saying, this is abhishekam. They will take some sand itself and make little things and this is sweet for you. Yes or no? But what does it mean? What they get, they will do puja with. So what does Swami say here? Whatever you get, what is that? This entire prapancha, this entire universe is there at our disposal. To do what? To do puja with. What are we doing? Enjoying. We are enjoying ourselves with all the various things that are there in this world. And now what should we be really doing? Using all of that to do puja for him. He is the person who is being served. And this is, we are almost here, but the next paragraph and next two paragraphs are what came as the thought for the day, I think yesterday. Yesterday's thought for the day, I think, was from Prema Vahini. And these are the words. People must be happy that the Purushottama has placed around them newer and newer materials for serving him and gets the worship of himself done in various forms. Do you remember this I Inspire thought for the day, yesterday or something? People must pray for newer and newer opportunities to serve him and exult in the chance that their hands receive. This attitude gives immeasurable joy. To lead a life suffused with this joy is indeed bliss. Whatever is done from sunrise to sunset must be consecrated as if it is the worship of the Lord. Just as care is taken to pluck only fresh flowers and keep them clean and unfaded, so too ceaseless effort should be made to do deeds that are pure and unsullied. Yes, this was the thought for the day that came yesterday. You see, this time Swami has changed his usual modus operandi. Usually after we discuss something, next day that comes as thought for the day. But because we have already picked Prema Vahini as our to-do program, yesterday he sent the same thing. Yesterday this came as a thought for you. Why should Prema Vahini come yesterday? Or previously Dhyana Vahini was coming. Now yesterday's this was Prema Vahini. In this particular one, people must be happy that God is giving them newer and newer materials to do puja with. What is the newer and newer materials now? The world around us. Newer and newer things are coming in this world, isn't it? So many things are happening. So many changes are happening. So much advance and progress is happening in this world. What is it for? Zoom. Kani Zoom enduku. The Zoom is so that from the room itself we can reach out to everybody and serve God through this means. This is using this new opportunity that God has given. Everything is an opportunity that is given to us by God. Don't make any mistakes about it. Technology is an offering from God to us. Anything and everything that we have in this world is a way, a means for us to utilize so that it can be of some service to Him, some joy to others. Use it for that. Utilize it for that. And be happy that you are getting newer and newer opportunities to do it. People must be happy that Purushottama has placed around them newer and newer materials for serving him and gets himself worshipped through all these means. People must pray for newer and newer opportunities. You must say more, give me more, give me more. Give me more. Let me constantly serve you. Give me more opportunities to serve you. And exult in the chance that they already receive. So ask for more opportunities to serve, and the opportunities that you are already received, be happy, rejoice in those opportunities that you have received. This attitude gives immeasurable joy. And a life filled with this joy is indeed Ananda. That is what is called as bliss. You don't have to wait for someday in the future to become self-realized and get Ananda. Or go to Vaikuntamo, Kailasamo. You don't have to wait to go to all of those places. Here and now itself, Vaikunta, Kailasa have all come to visit us. Leah, just as you have all come and visited me in my house by popping up in Zoom, or just as I have come and visited all of you by popping out of your screen, like that, Vaikunta and Kailasa have also come and visited us. How? The opportunity to serve itself is Vaikunta only. According to our Sri Vaishnava philosophy, after going to Vaikuntam also, we will be serving him only. Go there and serve. Here also we do the same thing. If you do the same thing here itself, Irpidam Vaikuntam. This place itself will become Vaikunta for you. This place itself will become Kailasha for you. People must pray for newer and newer opportunities, exult in the opportunities they have already received, giving this attitude, giving immeasurable joy. And to live life like this is indeed Ananda. Whatever is done from sunrise to sunset. After sunset, what? Will come. Whatever is done from sunrise to sunset, from your waking moment to sleep, should be consecrated, should be made holy, as if it is the worship of the Lord. Just as care is taken to pick fresh flowers and offer it to the Lord, so also you must make an effort to do deeds that are pure and selfless. Pure and selfless na enna? Pure and unsullied. Pure and unsullied na selfless na artha. Many times I have said this. Pure act means selfless act. Impure act na selfish act. If this vision is kept before the mind's eye every day and the life is lived accordingly, then it becomes one unbroken service of the Lord. One long unbroken service of the Lord. Long service. The feeling of I and you will soon disappear. All trace of this individual self will be destroyed. Life then transmutes itself into a veritable devotion to the Lord. Hariparayana. In the Kindan thought for the day was that, up till this Hariparayana word. How should our life be? How should our day-to-day life be? Every moment should be offered as an offering to the Lord, consecrating everything as we're giving it to Him from morning when we wake up to when we go to sleep. After we go to sleep, what will happen? Then that is when we unite with Him. That is His gift to us. The day is used for us to serve Him. The night is used by Him to serve us. He will come to us as Shanti. He will come to us as Ananda. He will come to us as that great undisturbed contentment. It's only when you are asleep you are contented. All problems are gone. Everything is taken away. Shanti alone is there. So the day is given as an offering to the Lord. If this vision is kept before the mind's eye, and every day is lived like this, it becomes one unbroken service, one long unbroken service of the Lord. And He'll give you long service leave. You do long service of the Lord, He'll give you long service leave. You can go and sleep happily. With a clean, clear conscience and a heart. I have spent today in a worthwhile way. I have spent today for the Lord. I have not missed a single opportunity today to serve Him. In every way, I have served Him. What more could I have achieved this day achieved? What more could have been accomplished in this day other than this? So you can sleep happily, blissfully. He will take you into His embrace. It will not be ordinary sleep. It will be a sleep in His embrace. He'll be the mother, and on her lap you shall sleep. Isn't that the wonderful way it will be? Yeah. We'll stop here for today. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम तत्सत्. श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु.